Welcome once again, Philo Wallace. A 7 wicket victory for West Indies, and the Caribbean people are jumping. Revenge, they're saying, taking out South Africa after South Africa was responsible for the exit of West Indies in the World Cup. You don't really believe that, do you?
No, I don't. Good evening, Philip. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yes, but nevertheless, you enjoyed the spectacle of T20, and I don't think you're unhappy that West Indies was able to get up and win the game.
No, it's a good victory for West Indies, obviously, after the T20 World Cup, but not getting into the semi-finals or even the finals and going on to win that. This is the first game since then of being beaten by South Africa. And it's a good victory. When you look at it, South Africa did well to get it to a very competitive total of 174. But then West Indies obviously showed their muscle and led by Nicholas Moran. But first of all, the two openers gave a solid start. So it's the strongest format of the three international formats that West Indies play. And we're hoping that this victory can only kickstart uh, more victories going forward because they're preparing now for the next T20 World Cup.
They're preparing for the next T20 World Cup, so I suppose this is the start of a new phase. Any surprises, first of all, in terms of the squad that the selectors put together?
First of all, Philip, I don't know who the selectors are, but they've selected the squad for the T20 series. Obviously, you look at Johnson Towers was dropped for the last game in the World Cup, replaced by Kyle Mears. Now there's a series starting against South Africa. Johnson Towers is back. There's no Kyle Mears. There's no explanation why he's not there. Yeah, you're preparing for the 2026 World Cup. But it's quite strange how they've selected this squad. Obviously, there's a young, bright prospects in the T20 squad. Just hoping that, as they say, youth and experience, that can be the formula to take us forward. But obviously, Johnson Charles would have been a big surprise, but he's in the squad. And hope that when he does get a game, that we will see some improvements as his play, if any at all. We just have to continue to search for maybe that opening batter. There's no Brandon King, so maybe there's a reason Johnson Charles would have gotten in on on an experience. So he's there. The squad has been selected, and they kicked off their campaign with a victory. So we're going to say that our cricket is good.
Well, first of all, let me explain it. When I said selectors, I was using the word loosely. But the team selected the first game, always good to win the opening game. Anything special that you notice from the opening game? Anything noteworthy?
Yeah, when you look at the bowling of Matthew Ford, Philip, he continues to impress and improve. He seems to have worked hard at his bowling. He looks good. He looks fit as well. I thought that was a plus for us. Shamar Joseph started well, but then I thought that he came back in the dying stage of the game and bowled some light balls and got punished. And obviously, he's a little bad habit of screaming called no balls. And that would have hampered him and then his confidence because he looked good going into for the last couple of overs. And obviously, Akil Hussein continues to open a new ball and with some success. I don't know if they're going to continue that trend throughout this series. But when you look at it, at least we have bowlers we know that we can rely on. I'm not so happy with Shepherd as well. I think it's that it took all off today. He's not the bowler that I believe should be bowling at the 20th over in a T20 game. I don't think he has the skill sets to do it. And again, these guys had a long layoff. Nobody knows what they were doing before this T20 series. So obviously, it's going to be a trial and error going forward. But when you look at it, you have to commend Matthew for I thought he looked good. And you hope that he now will continue to improve and don't rest on his laurels.
Well, Shepard, I know he had a stint in the Global T20. I wasn't always impressed with the manner in which he bowled there. There were occasions when he was, knocked around as well. There were occasions when he bowled well, but I do agree with you. I think he's being used in the wrong way. I see Mario Shepard as a lower order hitter, someone to come in and give a finish to the innings if necessary. A bowler who can maybe bowl 1 over or 2 overs, just to give yourself more options at the end. Because if he bowls 2 overs, it means that your five main bowlers, if you will, you don't necessarily have to bowl them out, and you've got options then coming on towards the end or anywhere in the middle where things may go wrong. But they're seeing intent on Mario Shepherd being one of the main bowlers. I think is a mistake. I heard Darren Sammy saying during the course of the week that he wants to build a championship team. Well, if Mario Shepherd is his death bowler, I wish him luck with that.
Yeah, well, Darren Sabi says a lot of things. He's the head coach. He has the power. He holds all the cards that appears. I mean, just hope that the decisions that he made will benefit West Indies cricket. If you're going to build a champion team, I think you need champion players. And if you're looking at Mario Shepherd, he don't seem to handle pressure quite well. I think his batting is a bonus, but his bowling is weak, and that is something that Sammy and his charges will have to work on. There's a new assistant bowling coach who is the head of the academy in Antigua. He's now our assistant bowling coach for this white ball series. So maybe he can help Mario Shepherd to improve his skills, try to get him to understand the importance of bowling certain deliveries at certain batters. All we keep hearing all the time from the commentators is matchups and matchups. So I don't know what is. I know when you're going to buy a pair of shoes as opposed to match and a pair of socks. A guy bowls a right-handed batter. I know there's certain basic principles that you apply when you're bowling, and there's certain things that you look for in the batter as a bowler to stop him from playing certain shots. I don't know if cricket has changed, but it's still 22 yards with a 5.5 ounce ball. It's just the color of the ball has changed. I think that if we try to get our bowlers to continue to hit hard lengths and look at what the batter is doing and adjust, I think they'll be better. But all this matching up and matching down, I think it's just confusing cricketers who don't really understand it.
I think the commentators were confused. But in terms of the batting of the West Indies, you talked about Joseph, you talked about Mario Shepherd, you mentioned Hossein. I guess the batting wasn't really extended too much in this contest. But generally speaking, what are your thoughts on the
But
batting?
obviously, I thought the one time before was competitive. I mean, you look at the start that West Indies got from Alec Antanaz and Shea Hope was quite commendable. I thought they played the power play quite well. Again, against an inconsistent and inexperienced South African bowling attack, but a victory is a victory, a start is a start. And they got the team off to a good start. Alec Antanez obviously outscored Shea Hope. Shea Hope using the experience of just sitting and waiting for his opportunity. And when Alec Tanaz got out, Shea took over and played some wonderful shots. And we saw the importance of hitting the ball straight, playing authentic cricket shots. He got the rewards for playing those shots. Congratulations to him for yet another half century. And then we saw Nicholas Moran. Obviously, now he's the one that we are looking to win more matches for us in that T20 format. And he's been a journeyman. He's traveled all over the world playing T20 cricket. He's captained a lot of franchises as well. And we saw how destructive he can be against a weak ball attack. But the way in which he went about his batting was quite commendable. He didn't take a lot of chances, and he hit the balls in the areas of his strength, straight down the pitch over mid wicket. I mean, he hit with authority. So he showed maturity in this first T20. I want to hope that this can go on to the second and third T20. And then when they regroup again for the rest of the year, we'll continue to see maturity. Because one sunny day doesn't make a summer. So these guys have to understand that that's the first T20 that's been done and dusted. They won. They chased a competitive total down, made it quite easy in the end because of good batting, good power hitting. But there are two more games to play, and we would like to see them being consistent. Yes, the batting was not stretched, but I hope that the others who were to come would obviously understand that when the opportunity arises in the other two, if it does, that they have to come up scratch as well. Again, a little thought on Roston Chase. He only bought one over that went for 14 runs, and he came in to knock the ball away for the winning run. Again, he has to be more. You have to be more. He has to play a bigger role in our cricket. I thought that he would have bowled more overs. One for 14. Maybe the captain said his vice captain is not doing what he was supposed to do, and he didn't get anything over one over. So that is something that we also have to look at because he's one of the guys in our T20 side that we need to keep encouraging. A lot of people are asking for him to even be included in our test squad. So we want to see him playing a bigger role. I think Captain Powell has to trust Chase a bit more. And there's only one game so far, but trust him a bit more, give him responsibility. Because I think that he warms to responsibility, and we are going to see the best of him in this T20 series going
I
forward.
don't think you can really claim or expect people to recognize you as a top T20 bowler if you are going to disappear when the heat is on. They're really good bowlers. Sometimes come on and they're human. So they'll concede maybe 10, 15 runs, even more runs in an over. But first of all, you need to have the courage to come back. And then
Mm-hmm.
you need to have the skill to show that you can come back and bowl 3 or 4 overs economically. So I would hope moving forward that we don't have our main bowlers, and I think Chase must be considered a main bowler now. He's earned that right. I would like to see our main bowlers backing down because they've had a bad over.
Yeah, I agree. When you're under the pump as a bowler, you want to bowl. I believe it shows character. It shows that if you have, it shows your skill levels as well. It shows your commitment to the team, and if you can get through those rough periods, it makes you uh, put yourself on the market. One would say, even for higher honors, because if you can come to a baptism in T20 cricket successfully, then you're saying to yourself, look, I think I can play the 50 over in a test match format because I've been through the wars in test cricket. And T20 cricket, sorry, even the young 18-year-old who debuted this evening for South Africa, if he comes through this T20 series, let's say, of 5 or 6 wickets, then they'll go, South Africa say, well, look, we know that this guy now can move to the next level, maybe 50 over, and even look to get him into the test setup. But it's going to be a process that he has to work through to get there. I think Roston Chase as well. He has to work through that process to get back into Test cricket, and I think he's doing it. But it needs to be encouraged. You can't give a man a vice captain position and then you don't have the trust to give him the ball, even when licked to Sheeran. I think he's skillful enough to get wickets in T20 cricket, even when the batters are going hard at the bowling. I think he has that skill, but it has to be a two-way street. The captain has to believe in him and allow him to grow and mature in the role.
You mentioned the fast bowler from South Africa, but I invite your general thoughts on the South African side.
I thought the South African side played well, Stubbs batted well. Obviously, they got pushed back early by getting wickets, Matthew Ford again and Shamar Joseph, but they show character in the middle order. They didn't panic, which was the key. They rotated the strike. South Africans are fit. They rotated the strike ones and twos, and when the boundary balls came, they hit the ball to the boundary. Just that they lack a bit more help. Stubbs lack a bit more help in the latter stages of the innings. But 174, I thought was commendable from where they were before. I think the bowling is too samey and too light. You can't come into a T20 game with one frontline spinner. Markham had some success in the T20 World Cup, but that was months ago. It's a different this different type of cricket. Obviously, he went for a lot in his over, 6 over, he bowled a power play over, and he went for a lot of runs, I think over 20. So the bowling is too samey. There's no Rabada, there's no Nokia, there's no Janssen. So they're under the coach. They're looking at players who can, bowlers maybe who can swing the ball. I don't know how much swing they're going to get in Taruba. I think all the games are starting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon as well. So it's going to be very hot in Trinidad. So all those factors they have to weigh up. So I thought the bowling in this first T20 was a little too light, and West Indies obviously muscled it quite well.
Certainly enjoy listening to your thoughts on the T20. Before you go, though, I'm going to do a little bit of history here, if you will. I don't think we've spoken since the Test series ended, and I know you were both pretty optimistic that something special may very well have happened in that last Test. You were adamant that West Indies could possibly win that Test, and on the first day, it looked as though Philo Wallace was going to be a prophet. And what went wrong?
I think the West Indies don't understand how to win cricket matches. When you have a team 90 odd for nine, they shouldn't get 160. Whatever they score, how many they score, 200 or something. They shouldn't get up there. You should be looking to bowl that team out for 115, 120 runs. Your main bowlers, you have to go to them and say, we need to dismiss this team. We need to put in the effort to bowl out this side so that when we go to bat, we can have a lead. And I think that we missed certain critical moments in that second test match. And South Africa obviously had momentum and that they put a score that they believed that they could have defended. Although we had 3 days to score just over 200 runs, we seem not to understand what it means to have partnerships and bat long periods of time and accumulate runs. Everybody seemed to be in a hurry to finish the game in day three. And then we end up looking silly with our two last batters, Warwick and Shamar Joseph, then looking to be heroes. But the game was way beyond us. we have to understand when you're playing test match cricket, there's certain periods that you have to command. And if you can command them for a very long time, more often than not, you can win the test match. It's not about trying to bowl out teams quickly. It's about getting the bowlers sitting in their straps and bowling good lines, setting proper fields, and looking to get wickets. When you're back, you're looking to build innings, you're looking to get partnerships. And that did not happen in that second test match. We faltered again, Philip, and we lost the test match in 3 days. I thought that we stood a very good chance of winning that test match. I thought that making the move to play Shamar Joseph was a good move. He got 5 wickets in the first innings, and we didn't even build on that momentum. It just tells me that sometimes we are not looking at the bigger picture in our test match cricket. We're looking at maybe too small an avenue rather than looking at the big picture of looking to beat teams and beat teams successfully. South Africa came to the region to win because they want to get themselves in with a chance to get to the ICC Test Championship final. It is about $1 million they're playing for when you get up to play that final game. And these are things that all cricketers seem not to want to do. They don't like to win. They don't have to play to win. And it just hurts to see how we just disintegrating as a test team. And we keep saying we're learning, but I think we are learning how to lose because we are not winning any games. We've lost badly in our last two test series. England, we lost almost every test match in 3 days. And then we're at home, we're getting beat as well at home, which never used to happen. And South Africa has the bogey on it because we haven't beaten South Africa in a very, very long time. So these are things that we need to look at, hope that they can regroup and come better. But as we keep staying full up, what remedial work is being done in the off season to get our cricketers ready for down the road? You can't get ready for down the road 2 weeks into a tour, 2 weeks before a tour in a camp in Antigua or wherever they're going to have a camp. The work has to start before, and the players have to buy into the concept of doing extra work in order to get better, so that when they call upon for the next test series, they don't look as rusty as they did. They look sharp and they're focused and ready to go. It is called hard work, and our players need to put it in the red ball competitions.
And finally, a word on Craig Brathwaite. In the circles in which we move, there have been widespread calls for his removal as captain. And I started to wonder if he has actually bought into that and was trying to send a message to the selectors. Maybe you can help me understand why Jamel Workin, who was the better of the two spinners in the first match and who did what he had to do in the limited opportunities in the first innings, why it took some 60 overs for him to be introduced into the attack on a day when you were trying to restrict the South Africans so that you have a target that you know that is chaseable.
Good question, Philip. I think that Craig Captain is a very strange captain, Craig Brathwaite. His captaincy to me is driven by his batting. I find that when Craig is scoring runs, he looks more energized as a captain. Warrington came out of Trinidad out bowling their main spinner in Moti. And when you get to Ghana, you realize the surface was one that was not quick. It was a good cricket surface, but the spinners can still be effective. The best spinner we had in Trinidad, you didn't bowl him onto the 60th over. Whereas another captain be saying, well, I need to try and get working into this attack quickly. Because at the back of the South African batter's mind is this man near Working who got some wickets in Trinidad. But we allowed all the pressure to come off the South African batters. And then when Warrington was introduced, obviously the guys are set and they just work him around. But then now in the same test match, Moti outbatted Warrington. So there's a little bit of, I don't know if there's a little rivalry between the two of them, which would be good. But I think that sometimes the captain needs to settle his plans clearly and lead from his heart. Allow his heart to guide his decisions. I find sometimes Craig needs to be a little iffy. Should I go Warwick? He's Barbadian. Should I not? You have to go with your heart and your gut feeling. This is what I want in order to get wickets. Because at the end of the day, to win a test match, you got to take 20 wickets and outscore the opposition. We took 20 wickets in Trinidad, but we didn't outscore them, so we lost. And we lost in Ghana, we draw in Trinidad. So Craig has to be more decisive with his bowling options and go for the guy who he thinks is going to be the one to bring the wickets. Jaden Seed was an outstanding fast bowler. He looked good. He didn't look like he overworked. He looked tired. He looked like you're running all week and bowl for you. Yes, so we have him. Shamar Joseph, we know what he can do. He can come in and hit the straps. He can bowl line and left once the field is set in the right way. And he can hit off stump. Good. You just need to brace it, get massage your spinners into your bowling attack for it to be a compact bowling unit, so you know where you're getting your 20 wickets from. If you wait too long to introduce one of your two spinners, then you can find that he's not going to be as effective as he should be. So it's about balancing and making the right decisions at the appropriate juncture, understanding and reading cricket matches, reading the situation that your game is in, and then pouncing upon the opposition where you get the opportunity.
Hello, Wallace. As usual, enjoyed hearing your views and look forward to more of that as the series continues. Two more T20 games to come. And who knows, maybe we'll have some good news this time around in terms of the outcome of the series.
Yes, I hope the West Indies can go on and win this T20 series and give us something to cheer about for the summer that is soon coming to an end.
Agreed.